Well, it would seem that it is Christmas in August now. A couple of weeks ago, I guess at the time it was July, my wife told me that they were making a new adaptation of Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. And then she told me that it was going to star Johnny Depp. And of course, I got very excited. I got excited about Johnny Depp. I like Johnny Depp, but more so, I got excited because there's a new Christmas Carol adaptation, and hopefully it's not shit. We'll see how this one goes. I thought it would be fun for us today to watch the trailer together, at least bits of it, and analyze the costumes to see just how well they do. Now, I have seen this trailer before, but I have not yet taken time to really pause and look at and analyze the costumes that we see here. So this will be fun. It's a very short trailer, so this video should be rather short as well. But let's get into it. I think this will be fun. All right. Here we go. I like the crow. Okay. Already, again, this trailer moves fast, so we have to be quick with our pauses. We have a good look at our first three costumes here that we get a good view at. So the first is Our Lady on the left side of the screen there. Very, very 1840s dress with the narrow cut shoulders. I like that white lace collar that she has around her neck there. The closely cut sleeves are very 1840s. The 1830s sleeves tended to be a lot more voluminous. Because this is so early in the decade, 1843, I hesitate. I wonder if maybe that's a little bit ahead of this particular year in the decade. But it is 1840, so I'll give them a pass. I will give them a pass. The bonnet looks nice. The hair is a little bit long. Women's hair was long back then, but the way that it was styled, all of that long hair was usually pulled up. In the 1830s, women would have little ringlets that would sometimes frame the face, and those would come down a bit, but they wouldn't go past the chin hardly ever, and they certainly would not go past the shoulders like this lady's hair is. The man in the middle looks pretty good. I mean, he has kind of a generic Victorian Charles Dickens-ish top hat on. That's fine. His facial hair is good. An older gentleman. His waistcoat looks a little bit long. So also does the gentleman's waistcoat there on the right side of the screen. Looks a little bit long. But the man in the middle there, I don't know for sure. It's hard to tell. But I really think that he's not wearing a frock coat or a tailcoat. I think he's just wearing an overcoat over top his vest with nothing underneath it. So what men would wear in pretty much the entirety of the 19th century was shirt, waistcoat, frock coat, or tailcoat. And then if it was cold out or there was bad weather or if it was windy, you would wear an overcoat on top of that. The coat that men wear, which would be a frock coat or a paletot or a tailcoat or a jacket of some kind, would be part of the outfit and would not be removed even if you were inside. That's what an overcoat was for. It's like today when we wear, a shirt and maybe a sweater on top of that, and then we put on another coat over that to go outside, but once we come in, we take that coat off, but we leave the sweater on. It's the same thing with this in this instance. I don't think he's wearing a coat underneath the overcoat. I think he's just wearing his vest and then the overcoat on top of that. And that's something you see so often in depictions of men in the 19th century. The man on the right side of the screen looks like he's wearing an overcoat too. The hat is great. I love that hat. That's really cool. I love the wide brim. That wide brim, tall, flared hat was starting to become very popular in the mid 1800s. Oh no, I missed it. Gotta go back just half a second. There, perfect. Okay, these guys. The gentleman on the right side of the screen, I love his look. He looks like he is wearing, it looks like he's wearing knee breeches, which would be worn by gentlemen in the 18th century and then into the Regency. And so, seeing that he is an older gentleman, it makes sense that he would be wearing an older style of clothing. So, the knee breeches, the waistcoat that buttons up much, much higher, even the top hat, that top hat with the very narrow base that then flares into a huge, wide crown, that's very 1820s, early 1830s. So it's cool to see him wearing that type of hat. I have a big problem with the other man's hat. That hat should not be worn, ever, at this time, in this year, 1843, because bowler hats or derby hats, which I have here, were not around in 1843. They did not come around until 1849. That's when bowler hats were invented, if you want to use that word. And they were invented as workwear. They were basically a hard hat, if you will. Because of the domed structure, they were very solid and durable hats. They didn't crush easily, and so they were designed for men to wear while they were working. So it started as a working class hat. And maybe this man is working class. Most of the characters in A Christmas Carol are from the working or lower classes. So it's very likely that he could be wearing a hat, except for the fact that it's 1843 and he wouldn't have that hat at all. If anything, he would be wearing, actually, I have one over here. He would be wearing this, some type of cap. This is a wheel cap. And if I remember right, we'll see a wheel cap a couple times here in this trailer. So this was also the working man's hat. This is what he would more likely be wearing if he was wearing a hat at all. Not a bowler hat. Okay, here we got more guys. There's that guy again with the knee breeches and the high waistcoat and the 1820s, 30s hat. It looks, the hat almost looks shorter in this scene, like a coachman's hat. But anyways, there's a wheel cap. We see one there. The gentleman there on the right side of the screen is wearing a wheel cap like this. His looks a little more floppy than mine. There's another bowler cap. Dang, bowler hat. Those darn derbies. They didn't come around yet. They weren't here. We do see a full beard there. Full beards, men in the 1840s, men of fashion would not have full beards. They did have more facial hair than we saw in the 18th century or the Regency era. We're starting to see men return to growing out their facial hair, but you would typically see something like what I have with a mustache, with sideburns, or a lack of mustache and just the sideburns, or vice versa. What you would not see very often is a full beard. Full beards hadn't quite become socially acceptable for the fashionable people, for the upper class, for even the middle class. It wasn't what you did. If you had a full beard, it's probably because you were lower or working class. Why is he? It looks like he's wearing his nightgown and his dressing robe, his dressing gown. But he's also wearing his top hat. Why is he wearing his top hat with his dressing gown? Why would you do that? Unless when he went out with the ghost of Christmas past, he grabbed his top hat.
It's good to be back.
I like the generic Scrooge top hat that every variation of Scrooge in every film ever wears. Just mid-height crown top hat, beaver fur, loosely brushed, not quite polished, flat brim. That's the Scrooge top hat. If you're going to be Scrooge, you have to have that top hat. I do like the guy behind him, the trousers and the kind of low crown top hat. Again, that's very 1830s, that type of hat there. The frock coat looks nice. See the nice closely tailored sleeves that go down to about the first knuckle of the thumb. By the 1840s, the sleeves were still very tight, but they weren't quite as tight as they were in the 1830s or 20s. But they're starting to loosen up. So that looks nice. It's a good silhouette. I always notice in these historical dramas, it's always the background characters who are dressed more appropriately or more accurately, if you will, than the main characters to the time period. It's funny. If they put enough effort into the background characters, you'd think they'd put more effort into the main characters, but who am I to judge?
To Uncle Scrooge.
Okay, to Uncle Scrooge, which means this is Scrooge's nephew and his wife. They are sitting in a lavish house. The book makes it rather clear that Scrooge's nephew is not very wealthy. He's better off than most others. He's better off than the Cratchits are, but he is not exceedingly wealthy. Certainly not wealthy enough to be dining in a room like this.
Uncle Scrooge.
Funny place to start. Who's that guy in the background there? Who is that? What is that? That can't be the ghost of Christmas Past. What? Who is that? That's weird.
You, sir. Merry Humbug! Merry Christmas! Humbug! And a Happy New Year! Humbug!
Aha! I paused it just in time. That's another overcoat, but it's too big. It's too big. Overcoats were supposed to be looser, of course, because they're supposed to go over your coat. So it's a coat that's supposed to be loose enough to already go over your coat and all of your layers that you already have on. But they were still tailored to perfectly fit you and to mirror your silhouette and to be fashionable according to the standards of the decade. So many modern costumers have this obsession with making the shoulders either way too padded, so they're very square, or if they aren't padded, they're still too wide, so the cap of the shoulder drops too far off and doesn't look as nice and as clean and neat and narrow-shouldered as it could, because throughout this early middle part of the 19th century, that narrow shoulder look for gentlemen was the ideal. You wanted those shoulders to be narrow and sloped and rounded. Now we do have the kind of poofy capped sleeves. In the 1820s and 30s, that was popular. You did see it still every once in a while, especially with overcoats, but that doesn't change the fact that the shoulders are still just cut too wide. So, I mean, it doesn't look bad. And the trailer's almost over, so we'll finish it out here, and I'll give my closing thoughts.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, well, yeah, I like it. It's not bad. It's really not. There were my nitpicks. I was nitpicky, but all in all, they did a good job. I think we're seeing this trend lately of people paying more attention to historical accuracy, as accurate as you can get in a modern portrayal of history. But they're starting to do their research more, which is good to see. So, and it's easy to do with a Charles Dickens adaptation because everybody knows the Dickensian look. It's vaguely mid-19th century, and all of those eras kind of blend together easily enough, and it's hard to really distinguish them unless you know what you're looking for. So it's good. They do a good job. I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. If we want, once the movie comes out in mid-November, we could do a deeper analysis of the costumes to see just how well they do. I guarantee you, they will not do as well as Muppets Christmas Carol. Nobody will ever do as well as Muppets Christmas Carol. That show is peak.
Absolutely!
Well, I hope you enjoyed analyzing those with me. Let me know if you want to do more stuff like this. And yeah. You know what to do. It's YouTube. I don't even need to say it. Like button, subscribe, whatever. Do what you want. And until next time, farewell.